Gandharam Mrigadharam Mahadevam Devam Mai Sadaya Bhavam Pashupatim Chidalambam Sambam Shivamati Vidambam Hridi Bhaje. Om Namah Shivaya. The last metaphor that we took a look at was once more very impressive, very comprehensive, very suggestive, and to use an expression Swami Chidananda was very fond of, those lines were pregnant with implications. What was that metaphor? In verse number 72, which we saw last, there was this advice: go search for the great treasure hidden under the earth. And to do so, you need to put some special ointment in your eyes by which you can see what otherwise is invisible. Mind you, this search for the treasure in some forest area is at a place which is full of darkness. Tamapradesham. Bhitva, you must break into that darkness. And you may have to recite some special mantras so that you will be able to lay your hands on that nidhi. And mind you, there are snakes guarding that treasure, etc. That was the metaphor. But the real theme, the Darshtantika, what is intended to be explained through the metaphor as the treasure being no other than the lotus feet of Lord Shiva. And the ointment that we need to put into our eyes is no other than as much as possible of Shiva Dhyana. Dhyanam eva anjanam. And tamapradesham, the darkness is not the external darkness. It is the darkness of our ignorance, our worldliness, our prejudices, and so on. And there are gods already at the feet of this Lord Shiva, and snakes that guard the treasure. In the example, here are the snakes that adorn the form of Lord Shiva, and so on. And the shloka concluded, whoever conducts this kind of treasure hunt is indeed so blessed when they succeed. Te kritarthaha. With that, we are ready to step into the 73rd shloka. And here again, it's a treat not only for Shiva Bhaktas, for whom it is meant primarily, but also to grammarians, to linguists, to lovers of Sanskrit. Let's see what is said here to give you in advance the gist. Lord Vishnu himself was so eager to find Lord Shiva. For that sake, he took the form of a boar, Varaha, and went digging into the bowels of the earth. If Vishnu was so eager to reach the feet of Lord Shiva, should we not be trying for that? That is the idea. And the advice given is, please go and seek the earth, the plowable, fertile land of Lord Shiva's lotus feet. That will do you good. The shloka goes, Bhudaratam udavahat yadapekshaya shri Bhudara eva kimatah sumate labhasva Kedaramakalitam mukti mahaushadhinam Padaravinda bhajanam parameshwarasya. There is a nice rhyming, and with my limited knowledge of Chandas, I notice here that the second syllable in all the four lines is da. Buddha, second quarter Buddha, third quarter Keda, and the fourth quarter again is Pada. So the second syllable being absolutely the same or very similar is, as I have read here and there, is one of the characteristics of poetry. For your information of those people who know Kannada here, the entire Mankuti Kagga has this second syllable of all the four quarters matching perfectly. That is not 100%, but it is very similar. Shri Vishnu Vishwadi Mula Maya Lola Deva Sarvesha Parabhamma Nindu Janam Yavudanu Kanadiral Alti Imnam Bihudo Avichitra Kenamiso Mankutimma is the first shloka or the Chaupadi of Mankutimana Kagga, which is called the Gita of Kannadigas. There, Sri Vishnu, second is V, and then Avudanu, Vu, last line, A Vichitra ke V, Vichitra has V. So, Va or Vu or V, all the second syllables. I need not give more examples. When a scholar in a popular speaker in Karnataka, Guru Raj Karajgi, made a comment on Mankuti Manakagga, that is when my attention was drawn. Otherwise, Mankuti Manakagga is what we have grown up with. But it was only about 2 years ago I noticed that the second syllable in each quarter are so similar. Those of you who know Kagga may check with any other verse of the composition, which has 945 verses. All the 945 follow that second syllable similarity. Bhudara, Bhudara, Kedara, Padara is how we have it here. Okay, what does it mean? And what is the main sentence? The main sentence is Sumate in the second quarter. Oh, good-minded one. Oh, someone, oh, devotee who has a noble mind. Sumati is a person who has a good mati, good thinking. Like an earlier shloka used the word Sudhi, and then there was Sudhindra. So Sumati, oh Sumate, Sambodhana addressing him, Labhasva. Labhasva literally means get it or seek it. Go for, as the fourth quarter says, Padaravinda Bhajanam Parameshwarasya. So the Mukhya Vakya or the Kendra Vakya, the central statement of the shloka is Parameshwarasya Pada Aravinda Bhajanam Labhasva. If we ask, tell us why we should seek the lotus feet of Lord Shiva, then the illustration, or I should say, the reference to Mahavishnu's case comes up. He took the form of a boar. A boar, Varaha, a mighty pig, right? Uh, yeah. So that's called Bhudara. Why is it called Bhudara? Dharayati in Sanskrit means to tear apart. So a pig also digs into the earth, tears apart the surface, and can make a pretty deep hole. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, first chapter itself, as all the great soldiers and warriors blow their conches, right? Everyone, Yudhishthira, Nakula Sahadeva, Bhima, all of them. Names of the conches also are mentioned in the first chapter. Then there is a statement. This Shabda, Dharta Rashtranam Hridayani Vyadarayat. Vyadarayat means same, Dharana. That huge sound, referring especially to the sound made by Pandavas Ananta Vijayam Raja, Kunti Putro, Yudhishthiraha, and so on. Yudhishthira's conch was called Ananta Vijaya. That sound as though tore apart the hearts of Kauravas, Dhartarashtras. So Bhudara means a pig here, a Varaha. That's the form Mahavishnu took in the well-known story. Almost all of you definitely know this. When Mahavishnu and Brahma on a certain occasion saw an unbelievably bright column of light, column of fire, which was going upwards also, and they could not figure out how much upwards. They could not figure out how much downwards it was going. And in order to find the upper tip or the no lower tip, Brahma took the form of a bird, went flying up, and Vishnu took the form of a boar and went digging into the bowels of the earth. That's the reference. Bhudharatam Udavahat. Vishnu took Udvahati, past tense is Udavahat. He took the form of a boar, Yat Apekshaya, desiring what? And who was it? Mahavishnu. And Mahavishnu is called here Shri Bhudara. Shri is one of the consorts, Bhu is the second consort. Shri Devi and Bhudevi. Mahavishnu is called Shri Bhudara. It's a single compound. And mind you, don't misinterpret here that he was doing some tearing apart of these two wives. No, no, no. He had the best relation. Then what is Dara here? That's where I said it's a treat to linguists and grammarians and etymologists and so on. Dara here is wife. Daraha. I don't know how that came, whether wives are known for tearing apart the piece of the husbands. I don't know. I have no comments on it. But in all I can say is in Sanskrit, there are many words for meaning wife. If you use the word kalatram, it's a neuter word. So it refers to a lady who is a man's wife, but kalatram is neuter. If you use a number of other words, bharya and patni, etc., they are all feminine. That is most understandable. Then there is this word, very strange in our Sanskrit language. Number one, it is always masculine, daraha. And number two, it is always in plural. A man may have a single wife, but he has to say, if he is speaking in Sanskrit and using the word dara, he would say, this evening my wife is coming home. He has to say, Adya Sayankale Mama Daraha Agamishyanti. Daraha is a well-known word for wife. Shri Bhudaraha is Mahavishnu. He who has Sri Devi and Bhudevi as his wives. So one Bhudara is the Varaha Avatara, which is again that Varaha Avatara was different. And in this Shiva Leela, once more he took the form of Varaha. And Bhudara, Sri Bhudara is Mahavishnu. And if Mahavishnu himself took the form of a boar, don't you think you should seek the feet of Lord Shiva? And now Mahavishnu, in the form of a boar, dug into the earth. So the earth came into the picture. And the third quarter of the shloka, Tritiya Padaha, talks about Kedara. Kedara is a well-watered field. Kedara can mean an agricultural field. Kedaram labaswa. Please go for this well-cultivatable or well-watered field, for this Shiva's feet, which are now compared with fertile land, are indeed that kind of field where not rice, paddy, or wheat, etc., but the plants that grow there are the medicinal plant, and not ordinary medicinal plants which may cure you of some well-known diseases, but this is the field on which Mukti Maha Aushadhi Akalita. The great medicinal plants that give you liberation are found here on this Kedara. Therefore, to sum up, go for the feet of Lord Shiva that are like fertile land where the plants blessing you with liberation grow, and to find these feet of Lord Shiva, Mahavishnu himself took the form of a boar and dug into the earth. How nice. So there were several of such concepts, several of such imageries, several of these pictures, suppose, take root in our consciousness, then Shiva Bhakti will be easier. After all, in our worldly way of living, what's going on in our life is nothing else but certain other pictures have struck roots in us. A beautiful car, the next model of Tesla is what I want to have. So the Tesla is doing rounds, driverless, I guess. You just sit behind and give you some instruction. It takes you wherever you want to go. So we have pictures of handsome men, pretty women, gold, silver, whatever. All of them are mere images. Vedanta is uncompromising in saying this entire world, which has made you worldly, is mere thoughts. In the famous and the hard portion of Vedanta called Mandukya Karikas on Mandukya Upanishad, written by Gaudapada Shankaracharya's Paramaguru. In the last Prakarana, Alata Shanti Prakarana, we have that famous illustration. You take a firebrand, which is a long stick, at the end of which or the tip of which some cloth is tied, oil is put upon it, and it is set on fire. So you take that firebrand, and if you stand holding it like that, everybody would see it just a dot or just one ball of fire. Slowly you start moving it in circles. The firebrand in Sanskrit is called alata. Alata you take and move it in circles, slowly increase the speed. Then somebody at a distance looking at you are standing in darkness, rotating that, revolving that firebrand. That person would see a circle of fire. After a while, you may move it in the figure of eight. Then those people would say, a figure of eight. They would not know that it's only a dot, only a one point. Likewise, without going long on Alata Shanti of Mandukya Karikas, Vedanta maintains the position that this world of names and forms, these attractions and repulsions, these factors which make you feel happy on occasions and make you so depressed on other occasions, are all like that figure of eight, like that circular thing. There is no circle or object. There is no object of the figure of eight. What there is only the firebrand, one ball of fire. In that way, what really is outside and inside, the world is not the way it seems to be, and you, this personality, is another myth created by thought, created by images. Images of yourself come in such quick succession, and the whole thing looks extremely real. I am a loser seems to be so real on occasions. I am the great winner. I have gone ahead of everybody else. Is the image that comes to us on some other occasion. Vedanta smiles at us and says, you are neither a winner nor a loser. You don't have to win any game, win any challenge. You haven't lost anywhere. You are Satchit. That is Advaita Vedanta. So going so well with that, the Bhakti Marga makes the matter easier. In order that we may overcome our slavish attachment to sense objects, to our own prestige, to the ideas of what people will think of us, and so on. In college life, boys and girls have what is called peer pressure. If the other boys are wearing some kind of pants, bell bottom was a fashion in the 60s or 70s. This boy also wants to wear bell bottom pants. And now, as you know, you and I, this older generation, are rather very unhappy with that new fashion. Pants that are torn, that are so dusty, that badly need some tailor to work on them. That's what they wear. So peer pressure. So neighboring boys and girls are wearing such, and your grandson also starts wearing one day all kinds of torn pants he wears. So that continues in our adult life even when we cross 60 and 70. What the neighbors are doing, we must do, hoping or keeping up with the Joneses, or there is some expression in America. We have to be like others. All that is questioned by Vedanta, and in the Bhakti Marga it is said it's all mind's play. Mind is playing. And one great way of managing this mischievous play of the mind is invoke and invite the lovely forms of Lord Shiva. And using such shlokas, the matter becomes easier. If you say, I know it, I don't have to study Śivānandalahari for it. I know that I must be more God minded and I'm going to do it one of these days, okay, and so on. Where are you going right now? I'm now going to a cinema theater. Oh, one of these days you want to become Shiva Bhakta. Right now, you are Bhakta of those Hollywood heroes and heroines. Is that so? Hmm. Study Śivānandalahari. Then such metaphors, illustrations come to you by which your mind will begin to relish, begin to savor the sweetness, the taste of Bhakti Marga. So in Ramana Gita, last remark on this shloka, Maharshi Ramana says, human mind is normally attached or averse to Nama Rupa of the world. In Bhakti Marga, there's a whole 12th chapter in Ramana Gita devoted to Bhakti Marga. Just as in Bhagavad Gita, also chapter 12 is Bhakti. Here also, I guess, is 12 Bhakti Marga. Maharshi says, by getting attached through a process to Nama and Rupa of Shiva or Vishnu, God, you will find it very easy. The image of Tesla goes out. Show the door, exit door to Tesla after inviting, welcoming Lord Shiva's lotus feet in your consciousness. That is where you will find great peace. And as this shloka said, Mukti Mahaushadhinam Kedaraha Bhumihi Yesha Bhaktir Bhavati. All right. The next one is a little simpler metaphor. When we study Śivānandalahari, we are really spellbound. We would not have imagined that in the context of bhakti, so many metaphors are possible at all. But that's what they say, love makes mountains move. Love moves mountains. So love of God can move mountains, can give to us unthinkable ways of thinking about God. The main sentence in 74 is, um, let me put it this way. Your lotus feet, O Lord Shiva, may please make the wardrobe of my mind filled with fragrance. My mind is like a wardrobe. And presently, sorry to say, my wardrobe is smelling very foul. My wardrobe, maybe the clothes also are old and dusty. In addition, maybe as it happens in some old, dilapidated places, you open the wardrobe and there may be even insects and worms and cockroaches, not to mention a dead rat. So my mind, the wardrobe, is in very bad shape. Lord Shiva, come and fill my wardrobe with good fragrance. So in Sanskrit, if you take the last word of the third quarter, Padaravindam, then take all the words of the fourth quarter, that gives you the main sentence. Padaravindam chetappetim vasitam me tanotu. May your lotus feet make it suvasitam, make it have good fragrance. So let's see the other components of this. One more effective comparison. आशापाशक्लेशदुर्वासनादि भेदोद्युक्तैर्दिव्यगन्धैरमन्दैः आशाशाटीकस्य पादारविन्दम् चेतपेटीं वासितां मे तनोतु. There's no standard tune for any. In fact, I forgot all the tunes at this moment. I chanted it in some way. Please do not think this must be the right tune. God knows what the right tunes for these shlokas are, but we are reciting them in some decent way. So, Asha Shati Kasya Padaravindam Chetappetim Vasitam Metanotu. That's the main sentence. But the first part fills in. The present situation is Asha Pasha Klesha Durvasanadi Vedodyuktaihi. So the first, let's see just first pada. That's the description of how the wardrobe of my mind presently is. It has all kinds of asha, worldly desires, and they become pasha, they become binding ropes. And time and again, very often, our desires are not fulfilled. Then there is klesha. Oh, why should I live anymore? My life has been full of failures. And all such thoughts come to us, right? And there is durvasana, regrets, jealousy, guilt, shame. I must have told you in one of the earlier classes. Somebody said, my problem is GPS. I said, why? What is your problem? I have a big problem of GPS. I had just then learnt the expansion, some geosynchronous positioning system or some such thing in technology. He said, no, not that. I have the problem of guilt, pride, and shame. GPS for him meant guilt, pride, and shame. That is the durvasana that Sri Shankaracharya is talking about in this shloka. So desire, the bondage is caused by desire, various kinds of afflictions, and various forms of guilt, pride, shame, etc. But Lord Shiva's lotus feet are such, they have such, it's used in plural, divya gandha. They have such fragrance. In English, it may not be proper to say fragrances, though there are many kinds of fragrance, of course, many kinds of good odor. So we put various chemicals, hang them in our especially bathroom, etc. And then there are some where you pump some, you spray fragrance into the room. Those are all artificial, considered not good for health also. But that's again a parallel. Here, what is said is, after talking about the deplorable condition of our own antakarana, the poet says, the fragrance of Lord Shiva's feet is meant to destroy this bad smell. Bheda is break, destroy, remove, eliminate. Bheda udyuktaihi divya gandhaihi Shivasya padayoho gandaha divyaha. It is divine. And amandaihi. Amanda means of less effectiveness. Amanda means very effective. Opposite of manda. Mandagati, mandaprasthana is somebody who is too slow. But amanda means fast acting. Have devotion to Lord's feet. It acts so fast. Your GPS will just vanish. Then whose fate are you talking about? Asha Shati Kasya. So Lord Shiva has a very interesting name here. He is called Asha Shatika. What is this Asha Shatika? This is a pun on the word Asha. In the Pratama Pada, Asha meant worldly desires applicable to our mind. In the Tritiya Pada, Asha means directions. Dishaha, Dik, Dishau, Dishaha. Asha, Ashe, Ashaha. Directions, north and south, east and west, northwest, southwest, etc. So, Lord Shiva is Digambara. He doesn't wear, so to say, any dress, or he wears some little thing, pretty much. He is not attached to ornaments and other things. One of his names is Digambara. Digambara has this Asha Shatika as a synonym. Asha is Dishaha, directions. Directions in turn means space, Akasha. Akasha itself is his dress. He doesn't have to wear any special dress. Shatika is garment. As Swami Tapasyananji says, lotus feet of Shiva, whose garment consists of quarters of the sky. That is a reference to Digambara Rupa. Incidentally or interestingly, not so much the Hindus, but a whole section or whole category of Jains go for Digambara Jain monks. You have Digambaras who don't wear anything, and then Shwetambaras who wear white clothes. So no wonder Hinduism in its own way has influenced so many other religions, continues to influence very quietly. Some of the best aspects of Sanatana Dharma are making their way into other great religions of the world. So Asha Shatikasya Digambarasya Padaravindam Cheta Petim. Peti is the wardrobe here. Peti elsewhere can mean peti, petika is a box. But here it is the box like furniture where we keep our clothes. Cheta Petim Vasitam by context here means Suvasitam. Suvasana Yuktam. Adhuna at this moment Mama Cheta Peti Durganda Yukta Bhavati. There's a lot of Durganda. It has to now have Divya Gandha, Sugandha. Suvasita me Tanotu. It's a wish. Tanotu. Let it or let the feet of Lord Shiva make my mind to be filled with noble thoughts. May I have more and more Shiva Bhakti. May I have more and more of thoughts of Shiva. In the next class or next to next, we will be seeing this verse number 81, which is one of my favorites. It says, for some time, let me do puja of you. For some time in the day, let me meditate. For some time in the day, with your blessings, may I go into samadhi in your contemplation. For some time in the day, let me again and again prostrate before you. For some time, let me just see your form, Shivalinga or the other Akara. May I praise you, may I do this, may I do that. There's a list coming up in 81st verse. which is a marvelous list of how we can spend the whole day and then say 24 hours are not enough for me to do the number of things that I want to do for in relation to Shiva. In our spiritual bankruptcy, we sit looking into the sky. I don't know, I'm feeling lonely, I'm feeling bored, I don't know how to spend time. But when we get guided by spiritual classics like Śivānandalahari, the opposite happens. I have so many things that I want to do in Shiva Bhakti, puja and japa and dhyana and studying Śivānandalahari and like looking at the meanings of the Ashtottara Shatanama long list. And the same man who was earlier saying, I don't know how to spend time, now says, I don't know how to you know, get more time to do all these things. So the idea is that is Suvasana. Now, one more verse quickly, very simple one. The mind now is compared with a horse. Turanga. The main sentence in 75 is given in the third quarter. Chetas Turangam Adiruhya Chara Smarare. Smarari is Lord Shiva because Smara is name of Manmatha, Madana, Kamadeva. All of us know Shiva turned Manmatha to ash by fire that emerged from his third eye. So Smarari is Shiva, Murari is Vishnu. So they are similar names. O Smarari, O Lord Shiva, Chara, go on a long happy ride, mounting on the Ashwa, Turanga of my mind. Rest of the shloka is a little description of this horse. What kind of horse is your mind? Give me some specifications. The shloka provides the specifications. Kalyaninam sarasachitra gatim savegam sarvengitajnamanagam dhruvalakshanadyam chetasturangamadirruhya charasmarare netas samasta jagatam vrishabhadhirudha. A lot of thought has gone into this shloka, and I guess for someone like Shankaracharya, these things come spontaneously. They don't have to put in effort. Words as though come running to them. As they look, words are appearing before them. Take me, take me. The best candidates are coming to the interview you have called. And you are perplexed. Wow. All highly qualified, highly skilled with the right experience that we need are here. Whom to select now? So while for us, many times we don't know what to write, what to say. I have seen some people who do a vote of thanks or some such thing, or even in some other, it need not be a big function. They actually can exert a little and say something sensible, but they are perhaps so lazy. They just say, either in speech or in writing, thank you. I don't know how to put it. Thank you. Signature. I get very angry with them. You know, why don't you? Also, I get very angry, I'm confessing, when sometimes I write some 20 words, 10 words to somebody, taking pains to describe something and you know, making some request or something. And the WhatsApp answer comes, okay. Another day I write again something, okay. Another day again, okay. So other day I wrote to one person, doesn't your dictionary have any other word than okay? So that also he said, okay. So I say that that man is not okay. He should not be such a miserly person. At least, suppose I have written something, okay, you are coming to Delhi I'm also coming there one day before. Let's meet at the airport, have a cup of coffee together. Something like that I have written. The guy writes, okay. Let him borrow words from my message only. He doesn't have to take words from his, from my message only. I have written, we will meet at Delhi airport, have coffee together. So he can just write, yeah, great. I look forward to having coffee with Delhi airport, at Delhi airport. Borrow. No. So without going long on language, and here Shankaracharya seems to have such a gift. On one hand, he says, ride on the horse of my mind. And on the other, the last word is, you are seen to be riding on your Vrishabha, bull. Vrishabhadiruda, he Shiva, for a change, Turangadirudo Bhava. For a change, ride on the horse. Give a holiday to your bull. Let the bull take some rest. Right? Turangam Adiruhya. Adiruha, Adirohana is mounting, riding. All right, what kind of horse is yours? Kalyaninam. All these are adjectives to Turangam. Kalyani Turangaha. My mind, once I am filled with devotion to you, my mind is a very auspicious horse. Sarasa Chitragatim. It's a beautiful, good looking horse. Chitragatim. And it can, Gati is the way it goes. This horse can go in beautiful ways, in wonderful ways. At times it can go fast, other times go slow if you want. It can gallop. It can go as some pictures we get. The horse lifts its front legs way high. You and I are afraid the horse may fall. No, raising its front legs way high and keeping in that position, then it comes back. So I would imagine the a good horse has such flexibility, such diversity of gestures and postures and movements. Savegam, especially my horse, the mind that is horse, can run very fast for you. Sit upon it. Sarva Ingitajnam. Ingita is a hint. It's not well expressed or openly, you know, clearly said. Like you go to some house and the lady or the husband, no gender bias, please. Let me put it lady. After you sit down, the lady looks at her husband and just shakes her head. You wonder what is this shaking of the head. The husband runs into the kitchen and brings a tray with 4 or 5 glasses of sharbat, soft drink. I'm sure ladies here are very happy. That's what we want our husbands to do. Not really. They are not doing. Maybe some of the husbands are here doing also. So whatever. So all that the lady did was just move her head. And he understood. That is Ingita. Ingita is just hinted at. She did not say sharbat or soft drink. No. So a good horse would just know the master gives a hint, maybe a slight pat, whatever. It understands hints and then turns right or left, slows down or speeds up. Anagam. This horse is free of sin, pure minded. Dhruva Lakshanadhyam. You have such features, such characteristics, such behavioral patterns with this horse. You will know that these are here to stay. Dhruva means long lasting. Otherwise, horses or we people are good on some occasions. We don't know. Others don't know whether next day also we will be in good mood. Sometimes our guests go back and say, you know what? Today he was so good, very rare. Today he was so good. He did not ill-treat us and he did not show any irritation. Normally this man, our dear brother-in-law, whoever, in North India, his brother-in-law has become a symbol of, an irritable person. The word they use, sala. Sala is the word they use for a brother-in-law. Whenever they need to talk about some nasty person, they say, Sala aaya tha. This brother-in-law had come. I don't know how that came. I don't think brothers-in-law can be so bad. Many times, brothers-in-law are excellent, wonderful. But I notice in North India, they use the word Sala, which comes from the Sanskrit word Shala. Shala Tatha is in Gita. Shala is brother-in-law. Anyway, here it is said Dhruvalakshanadhyam. This horse is not once in a while in good ways. This horse is always going to be good. Therefore, Samahare, and then there is the word Chetasturanga third quarter, Netas Samasta. See, it's the second letter. I myself learning more of this meter and such things. It seems that the second syllable has a very special place in poetry. Chetasturanga madiruhya charasmarare, Netas Samasta Jagatam Vrishabhadiruda. So, Netaha is a Sambodhana addressing a leader. Neta is the Pratama Vibhakti. Neta, Netarao, Netaraha, Netaram, Netarau, Netaram, Netar, and Netruh. Then Sambodhana, you want to address him. Hey Netaha, Hey Bhrataha. So, oh leader, oh boss, whose boss is Lord Shiva? Samasta Jagatam. You are the leader, you are the Lord, you are the master of all the world. O Vrishabhadiruda, O one who generally goes on this great bull, Nandi, please, Turangam, Chetas Turangam, Adiruhya, Charasmarare. So we have been seeing sometimes it is addressing one's own mind, sometimes it is praying to the Lord, addressing Him, some other time it could be a general statement, description of state of affairs, and description of how things ought to be, where we need to go in varieties of ways. And that's one hallmark of bhakti literature, diversity. Because the human mind needs some vaividhya. Human mind, generally, most of us, gets bored with monotony. However beautiful some composition may be. I'm fond of some compositions. For example, though I'm not so much of a Vishnu Bhakta, Achyutashtakam is one of my favorites. Achyutam Keshavam Ramanarayanam Krishna Damodaram Vasudevam Harim Sridharam Madhavam Gopika Vallabham Janaki Nayakam Ramachandram Bhaje. So sweet, so simple. But please, next time I come to Tampa, please don't in every home when I come, don't sing Achyutam Kesh. One house I will be very happy. I love this, I'll say. Another place, if you sing, wonderful. Third place, if you sing same Achyutam Keshavam, you take a deep breath. Don't you know any other composition? Right. However fond we may be of some eatable, of some music, of some whatever. Human mind wants diversity, and Bhakti Marga gives it in plenty. Numerous ways of engaging our mind in devotion to Shiva, but the flavors are different. That's what we may notice in Śivānandalahari. Om Namah Shivaya. Om.
Thank you.